You can have all the hopes in the world for this Clemson football team, and I don't blame you. But there's one specific thing that I'm really concerned about that could derail Clemson, that could undermine them. Could it be the difference between legitimately a championship or just a bust of a season? I'm going to talk about it in a second. Hey, I'm glad you're hanging out with me talking Clemson football. Y'all, we are what? 9 days away, almost 8 days away from the kickoff with LSU. If you love talking Clemson football, I hope you'll subscribe. It's free, and I really do appreciate it. Before I dive into the subject of, what could make this season memorable in a good or a bad way, I want to let you know about a giveaway. I have teamed up with Pendleton with 1790 Knife and Tool out of Pendleton, South Carolina. I got that totally messed up there. Bill Mooney and the guys, they're making an incredible product. And he pulled that picture. He asked me to send him a picture, and I was like, Bill, I really don't have a picture to send. So he went ahead and pulled a picture. You can see me there. But this is a giveaway, and here's the details. All you need to do is register using the form below this video. The link is below it, and provide some content ideas for me and the channel, and I will pick a winner, a runner-up, and a third place winner. So first place will get a Raptor knife. The second place will get a Firmus knife. Third place will get a Pry tool. Now, y'all, if you come down here and look at this is not the stuff you're going to find at Walmart. You know, you're over there, you're hacking on some wood. You know, maybe you kill a small rodent with it. You also cut your watermelon with it and serve it with your family. You never wash it. Never do. You never wash the thing. These are custom knives, and this is officially licensed knives. So I'm just telling you, I would get over there and fill out that form. Also, if you make a purchase, you can use the discount DABO5 to get 5% off. You get free shipping. It's incredible. And by the way, if you buy something, you automatically get entered in this giveaway. Bill, thank you so much, man. Y'all go over there and see him. Let him know you heard about 1790 Knife and Tool. Here we go. Y'all know me that in the Clemson community, I'm one of those voices that is seen. You either love what I do, you love my approach to not only Clemson football, but to sports, mainly college football. But you know what I mean. You're maybe indifferent. You agree with me on some things, you disagree with me on other things. Or you downright don't like me. And I really caught it during the 2023 season when I was calling out everything I'd ever thought I had saw or thought was going on in Clemson, South Carolina, that was undermining this incredible empire that Dabo Swinney built. Now, I have said this, and I'm giving you a preface before I dive into this, because some of you keyboard warriors, you're about to lose your mind on me. You'll probably lose some subscribers. That's totally fine. But you know that I have been cautious over the past few years with Clemson football. But over the past few months, after looking at Clemson's roster, looking at some of the coaches that they have hired over the past few years, looking at their schedule, and considering the rest of college football, there's a bunch of teams out there who has big names who they've lost a lot of experienced talent. And yes, no matter what anyone says, I don't care if they played college football, I don't care if they coach college football. In fact, those people should know better than anyone. Losing a lot of experienced talent is a very, very big deal. No matter how well you recruit, no matter how many people you bring in through the transfer portal. Okay? But you know that I have a lot of high expectations for Clemson because of the things I just mentioned. And some of you have asked me, by the way, I'm going to do a preview. In fact, tomorrow I'll probably launch my preview of the Clemson football season, give you my picks. Let you know the games. Hey, here's worst case scenario. Here's best case scenario. Here's where I think they'll probably land. But I'm telling you straight up, there is one thing, and I mean this, that makes me hesitate at saying that Clemson could truly, for just this season, because they're going to lose a lot of talent, experienced talent after this season. All right? Let's go ahead and play this season, but I'm just letting you know next year, yeah. With that said, it makes me hesitate to say that Clemson's going to go out and win a national championship. And you're like, just shut up and tell me. Okay. I don't blame you. I gave the big preface. It's the offensive play calling. There we go. And everybody points back to the Texas game, to the play calling, the offensive strategy. It doesn't matter what's happened over the past 2 years. You just have that one Texas game. Oh, no, what about Appalachian State? You're talking about an Appalachian State team that was so bad they had to fire their head coach, who also was an alumni. Okay, I get it. It was impressive that they had that many yards. But how did they do against Georgia again? Well, that was last year, Brian. You're right. You're 100% right. You are correct. Now, I'm really just talking about the Garrett Riley era because Brandon Streeter was fired after one season. All right. Tony had that one season by himself or something like that. Okay. Where there was questions about the quarterback situation with DJ. Okay. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. I am also still trying to figure out what really happened with the offense and all these rumors about Sweeney calling plays or having major influence over the offensive play calling. Now, right now, 9 days before Clemson plays LSU, we're all jacked up on Mountain Dew, excited about the season. Everyone in college football is expecting us to do really well this year. And I'm looking at the roster we return. I'm looking at some of the coaches we've brought in. I mean, y'all, I'm telling you, this sets up quite well for Clemson. And I mentioned this just a second ago, and I've talked about this on my new channel, Another College Football Podcast. By the way, the link is below this video. You can go check that out and subscribe over there. It's a brand new channel. But as I've researched other college football teams, I'm talking about the major ones. Most of them have lost a lot of experienced talent, and a lot of them's lost their starting quarterback. That plays in Clemson's favor. But I keep holding my breath with the offensive play calling. That we are a few years into this thing, and there's still a general idea that Coach Sweeney was influencing the offensive play calls. Now, I know some of you are about to go on your offensive / defensive spiel about Coach Sweeney and what he can do and what he can't do, and that he's won 2 national championships. I'm not taking that away from the man. I've praised the man. But I also think he's big boy enough that if there's questions there, we can ask those questions, right? He's not so fragile, folks. And so we've heard from people who's went to practice over the past few years and went, hey, he's not calling anything. This is completely Garrett. And then some of you will probably say something along the lines, well, this is a different season. Folks, history means something. Clemson, their offense is only good against above average teams and below, when they get into the big game against a team who has just as good of players as they have, and the other team has better coaches than they do, Clemson loses. And they're like, whoa. I've been watching your other videos, Brian. You're either lying to me. Maybe you have some type of, maybe you have double personalities. Maybe so. Shut up. Anyway, had to do that. I just felt it coming on. Stop talking to me. But my point is this. That is this offensive play calling, the strategy. That is the thing that is just bugging me. Because everyone is holding on to that Texas game, that offensive performance. Y'all were holding on to it like a scared 3-year-old holding on to a teddy bear during a storm. Because if you get outside that Texas game against a good football team, you got nothing, son. Notre Dame. You're talking about where you just handed the ball off to Phil Maffa and Phil Maffa did what he does when he's healthy? You mean that? I mean, sure, if it works, let's keep doing it. If it's not broke, please don't fix it. But I am heavily concerned about Clemson's offensive scheme against really good football teams. Now, let's step back and look at this. Again, I'm going to unless something happens, it'll at least be over the weekend, and I'm going to try to get my preview for Clemson out tomorrow. And of course, we're going to be turning our attention to LSU because LSU is, at this point, 9 days away. Less, actually. But I'm telling you, you look at this schedule. It plays in Clemson's favor very well, but you've got to have your offense against LSU. You have too many weapons. Your offensive line is the best the best offensive line / personnel that you've had in that position in years. And you have one of the best in the business coaching them for the offensive line. So that excuse is gone. And I'm going to pause here. I'm not tearing into Garrett Riley because if his play calling has been influenced, we all owe him an apology. On the other hand, I just don't see how you get a team to the national championship. Sure, Georgia emasculated them, but you got them to the national championship and with athletes that as a whole are not as good as Clemson's. And when you play really good football teams suddenly, or good football teams, you can't move the football. Except for that one game against Texas. I mean, that's all I hear about now. Remember Texas. You can see the distressed hope in so many people's eyes when they're going, remember Texas. It's almost like, please, God, let that be our new offense. Yeah, I'm with you. I hope the aggressiveness is there because, as I said, you have an offensive line that is unbelievable now. Hey, you want to talk about a wide receiver room? We're arguably talking about one of the best wide receiver rooms in college football, and the best wide receiver room, hands down, since the T. Higgins days. Those were beautiful days. You remember that? I do. Sometimes I weep longing for those days. And me and my old buddy Pigskin Pete used to talk about it. Hey, you better enjoy right now because the good old days of Clemson may be over. And you know what? It wasn't too long until we were sitting there watching, well, not the regular Clemson football that was blessing us and murdering teams left and right. I am so concerned about the offensive play calling, no matter who's doing it. You have the offensive line. You more than have the wide receivers. The quarterback is now a third-year starter, a guy who's been through so much. He has a lot of character. He does have a lot of talent. That's what a lot of people don't like. They don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Cade Clubb. They want to talk about him like he's a child. He's just this spastic guy that goes out there and runs around, and he doesn't have this look about them. And I know what they mean. He still kind of has a boyish look to him, but that boy can throw football, can he? That boy can run. I'm thankful he's using his legs. I hope he uses it a lot this year. Just carve up defenses. Hey, y'all want to, as long as he doesn't take any crazy hits, he protects himself. Run away. Run into the end zone. They're sitting there like, we're trying to guard all, this wide receiver group that at every position, they're just nuts. He runs away. There's no excuse there. There's no excuse there. Well, the play is breaking down because the blocking's not good. That's not the problem anymore. Well, the wide receivers aren't good. Well, that's not that anymore. Cade needs a little more time in the that's not the thing anymore. The running backs. The running backs, I think, is one of the best kept secrets in college football. Are they Nick Chubb and Todd Gurley? No, they're not. Very few are, by the way. Even Georgia, when they think they have some really good running backs, yeah, they do, but it's still not Todd Gurley and Nick Chubb. Our running backs are fine. Folks, there's no excuse for why Clemson's offense should not come in and play against LSU and say, listen, we realize y'all have the athletes and stuff. So do we, and we're going to use them. When you play up against teams that has like talent, at that point, the playing field literally is leveled. Now, if Clemson goes up and plays Wake Forest, Clemson goes and plays Duke, they play, the Red Hat ladies from Idaho, Clemson's going to have more talent than them. Clemson's going to have more talented experience than them. They're going to have more size. But Clemson, I had two thoughts at once and it started coming out of my mouth. I only have one mouth. So here we go. I'm going to calm down here. Plus, I'm losing my voice for some reason. I'm starting to cough. Y'all forgive me for that. Clemson goes out and plays teams that they don't have the talent and the size and the speed and the ability of Clemson. All Clemson has to do is line up, run simple plays. They win by 3 or 4 touchdowns. They come back to Death Valley. If it's an away game, they do it in Death Valley, probably get a few more points than that. That's no big deal for us Clemson fans. But you go and you play LSU. LSU, they always have talent. Remember what Steve Spurrier said? You can have some ball players and still not win games. LSU should know that, and he was taking a shot at them way back when. Because LSU has, for a very long time, has always had talent. So I respect their playing. What wins ball games at this point when you have so much talent on both sides of the ball? It's coaching. And so notice I'm not saying that it's Garrett Riley. Notice I'm not saying that it's Sweeney maybe dabbling on the offense, because he did play offense. I'm going to leave that right there in your lap. You do with it what you want. But I'll tell you right now, if I felt like our offense, the scheme, the aggressiveness was going to be there, that in fact, when they see a game like LSU, or if they see a Georgia, or they see an Ohio State, or an Oregon, instead of you going, oh no, they're going to go conservative like they have, it's like, oh no, they're going to open up the playbook and they are going to be a menace. They're going to be a menace to this team. I don't feel that way. And you're like, well, hold on, Brian. You've been saying so many good things about this upcoming season. Which is it? Overall, Clemson has enough talent to pretty much win 10 games this year. Probably sweep the conference, probably win the ACC championship. Clemson, hands down, has that talent, no question. They have the talent in the coaching room, at the defensive coordinator position. No question. Tom Allen's going to make a massive change for Clemson. I'm telling you. But it's the offense. It will be the offense in the big games that will need to come up big. And that's why I hesitate to say, hey, I believe Clemson will win a national championship. You're like, that's the difference? Yeah, absolutely. You're not worried about Tom Allen? Not a bit. That guy has been successful for a very long time. Those two traits right there put together is explosive. You don't get that a lot. You'll find coaches that's been coaching for 25 years, but they're okay. You'll find some coaches that are younger who's had some experience that limited experience, but they've had some success. That's what I meant to say. But you really don't know if they're in it for the long haul. Tom Allen has. That's the reason I'm not worried about this guy. He's done this before. Good guy. He just shut down an SMU team that a week or two earlier we couldn't even fathom shutting them down. They ran that same play over and over and over. Guess what? Tom Allen quickly put up 2 pick sixes, and SMU realized we're playing the defensive coordinator. It's not going to let us do that. I'm not worried about Clemson's defense at all. I'm not worried about the talent on the offense. I'm not worried about Cade. I'm not worried about Moore, Williams, Wesco, Smith, Tyler Brown, Cole Turner. Cole Turner's fast. I'm not worried about those guys. I'm not worried about the running back room. I'm not worried about our tight ends. But I am holding my breath because you mark it down that I told you on this day. If we go into that LSU game and we try to play a conservative game, Clemson will lose that ball game. And Clemson will not only lose that ball game, they'll lose any game where the offense has to score. Even the defense, even if the defense holds people to 17 points or less, 14 points or less, if you can only score 13, you still lose by a point. So, tell me what you're thinking. Tell me why I'm wrong. But instead of giving me some generic middle school, you're man, this is wrong. That's stupid. Well, 3-year-olds can mumble that. Heck, parakeets can repeat that. Give me a reason why. Other than that Texas game. Throwing it out there. I'm just saying. There's been a lot of times I've been right. And trust me, for some of y'all are like, he just loves that he's right. Sure, it makes me feel good that I'm not an idiot. But also it makes me feel bad at times because it's like when you start to see certain things happen and occur, over time you begin to go, I've seen something like this before and it doesn't look good. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm saying this is the big thing. Some of you have asked me, what makes you, or you're like, do you think Clemson will go to a national championship? And you start seeing me squirming in my seat. I'm like, you're like, what's wrong? Are you sitting on a, handful of nails? I am, actually. It's the discomfort of knowing that our offense has one game everyone's holding on to like a leech. I'm going to get into the comments section here. By the way, remember, go over to 1790 Knife and Tool. They're in beautiful Pendleton, South Carolina, right outside of Clemson. We're doing a giveaway here. Go to that link below here. Go fill out the form. I'm going to get in here to the comments section. There's a bunch of you in here, and I'm gonna blast through this, y'all. I don't know why. I'm just losing my voice. Austin Garrett, good to see you, my man. Brantley Major. Brian, it's almost a week, and I haven't heard from, Go Clemson Tigers. Intelligent Savage, let's go, Brian. Let's get it, Clemson Tigers. Brian, it's almost a week, and we haven't heard from you in 5 days. Get worried. I got worried for a minute. Okay. I'll give you an update on 2 reasons why. My son just came back in. He's been gone for 7 months, and we've been spending a lot of time with him. And then just my schedule has been crazy. Really, it has been crazy. So, yeah. But thanks for checking in on me. If Clemson loses to LSU, do their chances in the postseason drastically go down? With the remaining schedule, no. Now, how seriously people should take them, and this is where people's going to get ticked at me, but that's totally fine. I'm used to people hating the truth, but someone has to tell it. How can you take Clemson serious if the only really tough team they play all season they lose to? They lose to them. Oh, that doesn't mean we don't have anything to play for. And I'm not saying you're saying that, but I hear it so much. I read these messages and everything. And it's just hard to say that, They have a lot to play for after that, but it's according, if they were to lose to LSU, how they lost to LSU. That's another biggie. What does LSU do in the rest of the season? Is LSU a 4-loss team, but they beat Clemson? That doesn't look good. Good question, Kane. Rustastic, it's almost Go Tigers time. I'm excited about 2 orange teams this year. Rustastic, it's good to see. Man, I hope you're doing all right. Hope you're doing all right. Been praying for you. Is Clemson exposed if they lose to LSU? It's according to how they lose. They should win, but Coastal 79, I think we're going to witness a record-breaking offense. I have faith in Riley. Coastal 79, I hope you're right, and I seriously hope I'm wrong. Brian, offensive play calling doesn't matter when you have the only 6-star player in the history. You're crazy. As long as we stay healthy. I agree with that. Sark had Riley's offense figured out before the playoff game even started. Yeah. Is BYOG back? Good to see you, Drew. I'm going to skip on down here at a few others. Drew Garrison, Riley's been holding Cade back, in my opinion. Look back to Vatek and Pittsburgh last year. Cade found his way. Hope the play calling is more aggressive this year, especially with the wide receiver room. Drew, I agree with you 100%. Again, I'm not going to put all this on Riley. I'm not going to put us on Dabo. It's just sad as a Clemson fan base, we're still in limbo of not knowing what to believe, of who's influencing what and who's calling what and why they're not calling this and why they would go conservative against Georgia and then open up a can on the worst Appalachian State team that they fielded in years. That does not make sense. That does not make sense. You deal with any logical human being who knows a little bit about sports, doesn't make sense. Kentucky sure wasn't scared of Georgia. And Kentucky went 4-8 last year. Almost beat Georgia. Clemson, 6-0 at halftime, and no offensive change. It was crazy. It is a different year, but if you do the same, I'm going to say this because I know this is coming. Oh, well, that was last year. If you do the same thing in a different year, you're going to get the same result as you did a few years back. That old saying about insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Yeah, that thing. It's funny you bring up coaching because I'm an LSU fan and I'm worried about Dabo making adjustments to beat us. You're spot on. Keith, it's good to see you in here. I tell you this, Keith, I don't know how you feel about Brian Kelly. For me, the Achilles heel for y'all's team is the questions with Brian Kelly. And I've said that, and a lot of people, they're just like, Brian, we love Brian Kelly. And I've read forums. I've talked to LSU fans. They're sitting there scratching their head. You can see that I'm not saying Brian Kelly is a bad coach, but he has struggled big time in the big game. And, we'll see. LSU didn't run well last year, so unless they have fixed their run game, I think one of the keys to beating LSU is shutting down Brown, Watkins, Hill, and maybe Anderson. I say keeping the pressure on Garrett Nussmeier. It's hard to get the ball to someone if you're sitting on your butt. And especially if Clemson's offense will come out. Let's say the defense gets a stop. Clemson's offense goes down, marches down the field, and it's like no one is even there stopping them. You're scoring in a very controlled manner. And I'm not saying, hey, they don't have a big, massive play, and I wouldn't take that. I'm just saying when you see an offense come out and they move the ball at will, and there's little to no friction against them, man, that does a lot to your team as a whole and their psyche. Let's think about what that would do for the defense, feeling more emboldened to go after Garrett Nussmeier and maybe play a little closer on some of these guys like Brown, Watkins, Hill, etc. You're right. Caden mentioned that they were giving him more freedom to change things at the line based on what he sees. This could be very effective because of wide receiver length. We got to push upfield. I agree with you, Posty Boy. I hope I'm saying that right. I agree with you. Hey, if you can't give Cade the reins now in his last season, what is he doing playing quarterback? And you know I'm a Cade fan. That comment is actually in Cade's favor. If you can't trust him now, my Lord, when are you going to trust him? I bet Tom Allen won't leave Sammy Brown on the sidelines in crunch time. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to talk about that. In the South Carolina game, the guy who was making the tackles, Sammy Brown, true freshman, they pulled him off. And I don't know why. Kid was making tackles. Clemson was struggling that day. Their strategy was all over the place. And Sellers he's a really good player. He can run very, very well. But, I mean, come on, y'all. More than one tough team on the schedule. Can you say Louisville? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Louisville. I think that, especially being at Louisville, I think on a Friday night, that has disaster written all over it. South Carolina's going to play Clemson hard. Either way, a lot of people I was watching CBS Sports last night. They're inside college football, and I like to watch it, believe it or not. But Tiger Tom, I'll tell you this. I was sitting there, I was listening to them talk about South Carolina, and they never mentioned one time that South Carolina lost the vast majority of their defense. Yeah, never mentioned it. Not one time. Not one time did they mention that. They didn't. They didn't talk about, I don't think they talked about the new offensive coordinator. Never heard a word about that. How's he going to gel with Sellers? They were talking about Texas. You would never know that Texas lost, 3 offensive linemen. They lost probably 80% of their offensive production this past year. But everybody's got them in the top 3. Some has them number 1. I guess experience, talent truly doesn't matter. Or it does and no one's paying attention. Could it be that the offense tried too hard to change up their strategy against good teams, being concerned that they had Clemson figured out? I really don't know. All I know was the end result was a disaster. Let me see. I've been saying it for 2 years, and I'll say it again, let the boy throw the ball. Yeah, he can throw. He can throw. Matthew Yance, what do you generally think our record will be and who you have us losing to? Matthew, thank you for getting here. I'm going to leave on that note, Matthew. I'm going to try to have it out tomorrow, but definitely on Saturday, by Saturday or around Saturday. I'm going to have my Clemson football preview for the 2025 season. I'm going to give you the games of concern. I'm going to give you the games I think we'll probably breeze through. I'm going to talk about a couple of dark horse games. I've mentioned this in passing, but I'm going to pull it all together. I'm going to talk about some of the players I really see some good things coming out of. I will mention my concern that I mentioned here, but I won't go into it in depth. Heck, I'm over 30 minutes in this video alone talking about that. But I'll give you the best case scenario, worst case scenario, average scenario, and really what it can mean for Clemson football in the future. I'll even talk about if Clemson loses to LSU, what does it mean, and kind of dive into that a little bit. But overall look at the Clemson football season and what we should expect, because, and I'm going to say this to everyone, and Matthew, I appreciate you getting in here. By the way, if you haven't subscribed and you like what I'm doing, you like Clemson football, I hope you'll subscribe. It is free. I do appreciate it. Go check out the giveaway. The link is below this video. Say hello to Bill. Go fill out that form. You may win an expensive knife. Why wouldn't you? I would do that. And go over there and check out what they have. It's really nice. Also, last but not least, check out Another College Football Podcast. That's my new channel. A lot of the reason that I know this stuff about other football teams is because I had to dive into them. Yeah. It's weird what will happen when you dive into other football teams and you're like, hold on, why are everybody in the major media almost all of them are not talking about all the talent this team has lost. Just do a little experiment with me. Watch these teams who lost a lot of experience. Write down what preseason prediction was. I know it's preseason, blah, 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 but it's almost like people don't learn or they're doing it on purpose. And then get to the end of the season and go, I wonder how that turned out for them. What happened when they played a really good football team? So go check out that channel, but I'll be producing my season preview in the next couple of days. I will go ahead and give you a look inside what I'm going to say. And I've said this before, but I'm going to leave y'all with this. If Clemson loses 3 games in the regular season, this is a catastrophic failure for Clemson football. Catastrophic failure. Huge. Massive. Just failure. It would be awful. It wouldn't make sense. It goes against all football logic. So anyway, folks, y'all take care of yourself. It's good to see y'all in here.